We covered a lot of high-level concepts in this module, and we'll get to see a lot of this in practice as we move forward. But for now, let's review some of the key points that you want to keep in mind for the exam. So we started off by talking about elasticity and scalability. And remember that elasticity is basically the concept of adding more compute nodes on demand as the application load increases, or actually removing compute nodes when the demand goes down. And like we talked about, this is going to be a lot easier to do when you're using stateless applications. And also remember that that model is basically the concept of scaling out. So when we add more compute nodes, we're scaling out. If we want to actually scale up, that's the concept of either increasing the size of an EC2 instance or maybe adding more storage to an existing system. Next, we talked about implementing disposable resources or immutable infrastructure. And you can kind of think of the analogy of treating servers like cattle and not like pets to remember why this is helpful. So instead of babysitting servers that have a long lifetime, it's a lot easier to completely automate everything and let servers come and go as needed. We also talked about loosely coupled architectures. And remember that loosely coupled architectures are made up of several black box components. So the individual components within an application aren't hard-coded to connect to individual server names or IP addresses. We use agnostic interfaces for communication. We can also use the queue-based architecture where worker nodes can process messages in an asynchronous model. Next, we talked about architecting with services instead of servers. And really the big thing here to remember is that you want to try and lead with managed service offerings if possible to ease your administration and possibly save some money on costs. We also talked about eliminating single points of failure, and this one's pretty straightforward. We want to make sure that we have a service redundant across multiple availability zones so we can continue to run our application if a data center goes down. In the next module, we'll start getting our hands dirty and we'll start working with auto-scaling groups.